Hello folks, and welcome to week 2 of Eat Well Wednesday on the 22nd of July. Today I've got a real treat for you folks. What we are making is butternut squash, macaroni, cheese. So ingredients what you're going to need is 50 grams of butter, 500 ml of milk, 1 tablespoon of English mustard powder, a fairly big butternut squash. I've already chopped mine up, and that's part of it, what's left. Some flour, some strong cheese, parmesan, some cheddar cheese, which I've already grated. I couldn't get macaroni, so I'm having to improvise because I've tried everywhere in town. So I'm using this lingori pasta, which I'm going to have a go at, and also a slight bit of oil as well. So firstly what we need to do is get a little baking tin, which I've already lined roughly, and what we need to do folks is I've already cut my butternut squash up, so hopefully this camera stays in there. So yeah, I've already cut mine up into 2.5 centimetre chunks. Rough chunks will be fine. So what we need to do first is turn our oven on to 220 degrees, which I've done, and it's already been warming. So with our cut up butternut squash, what's already been chopped, is we need to drizzle a slight bit of oil. That'll do. And we'll get our hands in there, and I've already washed my hands first. Slight bit of oil in there, and then we need to just chuck them evenly in the dish. And then we need to roast that, so just like that, it's been covered evenly. And we need to bake it for about 15 to 20 minutes. So just keep an eye on it so it doesn't burn. And then the next stage is, if I've got a decent pan, because we're struggling with pans here folks, so there's not much I can do. Because we either have massive ones or tiny ones. So within that, I'm just going to measure out. I've adjusted settings so it suits me. So empty a bit of pasta in there, and follow the guidelines of what it says on the instructions for either the macaroni, cheese or the pasta. And if you want it al dente, this one, it's 8 minutes. If you want it fully cooked all the way through, 10 minutes. Yeah. So I'm going to pop that on the cooker. So yeah, get that cooking. And in the meantime, while we're doing that, and we're waiting for the butternut squash, we need a pan. So let me shift some of these out the way. And I'll move my camera over here so you can see better folks. So while we're doing that, because you can let it cool as well, is we're going to make our sauce for it. So firstly, let's heat the pan up. I'm going to put this one about halfway, so about number 5, and then I'm going to chuck in. You've got the actual measurements, but I guessed we got like this. But yeah, chuck in a knob of butter, maybe a slight bit more. Just like it says, it makes loads anyway. So we need to stir this until it's runny. So let's turn it heat up a bit more. Yep, so we'll stir this until it's runny. The other good thing about this recipe, you can put, say, some of your favourites, chips or salad with it for afterwards when it comes to eating it. But yeah, I'm just waiting for the butter, folks. So until the butter melts, I shall be back shortly. As you can see, folks, the butter's melted. I've reduced it back down to half heat because we don't want it too hot or too cold. And then what we need to do is put in a bit of mustard powder, and gradually, I haven't weighed this out. I've made plenty of these in the past, but it has got a chance to go wrong. So we start adding our flour gradually, and like it says, you've got to keep on stirring because it does burn to the bottom. Turn it down slightly more. And we add the flour in until it consists of, so it's a solid when you stir it, and when you stop stirring it, it runs like water. So a bit more flour in is the best guidance I can say to anyone. But yeah, just make sure you keep on stirring because it does burn. Because this thickens your sauce, the flour. And you can't put it in afterwards because I found out in the past if you put it in after you've made the sauce to try and thicken it up, it tastes a bit like flour. So yeah, a bit more flour, folks. And a slight bit more and it should do it. But yeah, you've got to be careful not to use too much in it. So yeah, you stir it, it's solid, and then when you don't stir it, it should run quite nicely, and I think that's about nearly done, folks. So yeah, it looks like a solid mass and you leave it, it runs like that. So the next step is slowly, add bit by bit, milk, and stir because it does burn really easy, this, and it will get hard to stir, as you can see. So we'll keep on adding milk. It's basically just like making a white sauce. Let me use a different spoon because that's awful to use. That's what temperature because it needs to be a bit hotter than that. But yeah, these many a time in the past have gone wrong. And we need to stir it until all the chunks of flour have gone out. There's no worse than getting a mouthful of flour, a big chunk of it. So the next stage is keep adding milk until it's the right consistency you want. I'll leave that for a couple of seconds. You can also, if you want as well, folks, let's turn it up a bit more, because this goes from one extreme to the other, this cooker. So yeah, you can also add a few spices if you want, so I don't mind a bit of salt. I'm going to add a bit of garlic. I love garlic anyway. Yeah, keep on stirring that until it thickens up. Should keep on thickening. As you can see, just leaving it for those few seconds, it's already starting to stick and thicken up. So if you're happy with that, add a bit more milk in. And bear in mind, me doing it like this isn't the proper guidance, but I've done this many times before, this sort of recipe, because I make my own lasagnas the same way with the white sauce. But yeah, as you can see, it will get thicker than that. And also, if you want to make it a bit more cheesier, folks, you can always add a bit more cheese into your sauce, and it becomes a cheese sauce as well. So I'm going to add a slight bit more milk. Not much. That'll do. And there you have it. That is your white sauce. And for me, that should be perfect for what I require. So yeah, you can take that off the heat while the macaroni or pasta cooks thoroughly. So until that's done, I shall see you shortly. Welcome back. The squash is done, so I'll just take it out the oven. It's slightly crisping on the edges, but that doesn't really matter. So let's just put it on the heat slightly. So our squash is roasted. So what we need now, and we can use the same one, it saves on washing up. So now we need to add a third of our squash to the bowl. So hopefully it's not stuck too much. So just let me get a spatula. So just be careful if the young ones are doing this. So add a bit of that to it, a bit of our butternut squash. Also we need to add, our cheddar and after parmesan. So put our cheddar, which I've already grated up, in it. I'm leaving a bit for the top, and some of our parmesan cheese. I love cheese anyway, so yeah. And then what we need to do, folks, and with our sauce, put our sauce in. And like it says, with this you can add whatever seasonings you like. It's the first time I've cooked this, so bear with me. And then what we need to do is mash that together. So in essence you're creating a cheese sauce. You can do it an alternative way where you add the cheese while you're making the sauce when you're putting the milk in, or just after you've added the milk and eat it that way. So yeah, if you're happy with that being mashed up as much as you can, we'll get our roasting dish. I'm using this because we ain't got a proper size one, which is deeper. So then what we do is tip in our macaroni or our pasta. I may have done a bit too much, but hey, it's quite cheap anyway, and that one was on offer. Or better still, let's do it the easy way instead of going around the houses. Chuck that in there. Chuck our remaining squash in there and give it a quick stir. Is the easiest way to do it. Make sure it's fully coated. And I'll tell you what folks, it smells absolutely gorgeous. Just let me try and get some of that cheese off the bottom. As the cheese has drifted to the bottom. And then what we do folks is oven proof dish, I'm using this anyway, which I've already greased, is pour that in there. The recipe I've done actually serves 4 people if you follow the recommended measures. So we'll pour that in there just like that, and then we'll put that in the oven for roughly about 15 minutes or until golden and bubbling. So I shall be back folks when it's cooked. One thing I did forget folks, with the rest of our cheese, and it's up to you how much you want to stick on, is put it on the top, which I completely forgot about for a second then. I just realised as soon as I turned the camera off. And you can even add a bit more parmesan on top if you want. It's your choice. I'm a cheese lover, so I don't mind. So yeah, I'll be back shortly. Right folks, it's ready. It's been cooking in the oven for just over 15 minutes now. So I'm just going to take it out and turn the oven off. Wow. And it looks absolutely beautiful. I don't know whether I've used too much cheese sauce, but I am. It looks gorgeous. So take a glimpse at that folks. So yeah, and the all ever important taste. Let me grab over and look, because this is red hot. And yeah, this will do me for today and tomorrow's dinner. And it smells gorgeous, very cheesy. Definitely smell the parmesan in it. So yeah, I'll let that bit cool down for tomorrow. And the all important taste test. I might have to blow it a few seconds. Get a bit of butternut squash in there. Oh, that's delicious. Very nice. You can't hardly taste the butternut squash, folks, but it's in there. But yeah, that is really tasty. So until next week, and next week we're going to be doing burgers. Homemade burgers, you can't beat them. Another one for the family. So until next week, hope you have a good week. Take care and goodbye.